What's shaking? Today, just to prove to you that I do purchase vinyl from my local record store, I have 7 albums that I just picked up somewhere in Portland, and there's some really cool records here, man. I mean, a lot of unexpected stuff, and I mean, that's the thing about buying records at a record store, right? Is that you never know what you're gonna find, and if it's a good record store, you might actually walk out with a little stack of records, which is what I did yesterday. All right, I'm excited to get into these, so let's jump right in. All right, so yesterday I took a little drive down to the east side of Portland, southeast, and there's a little record store there, a big record store called Crossroads. And Crossroads is a store that contains the records of 50 different dealers. You have all these different sections to go through, lots of jazz everywhere, lots of rock everywhere, lots of everything everywhere, all from different vendors. And so it's really cool. You can go in there and just kind of, if you don't find something in one part of the store, go to another part of the store, maybe you'll find it. Oftentimes you'll find multiples of the same record from different vendors, sometimes at dramatically different prices. So that's something to be aware of when you go in there. Maybe don't just grab the first one you see. Continue to look around and see if maybe there's another one in better condition or that fits your budget a little better. All right, so I love Crossroads. I mean, it's really kind of the one place I can go to when I just need to get out of the house and I just want to pick through some records. Their new arrival bins have a ton of turnover, so there's always new stuff in there. And yeah, it's just a fun, great place to go pick some records. It's 99.9% used. And so that's really cool because oftentimes you go to a record store and even though it's a used record store, there's a lot of contemporary reissues and sealed records and stuff like that, which, you know, I'm usually not looking for. That's something I'm probably gonna buy online more just because the prices are probably gonna be a little more friendly. But for used records, and when I just want to do a little treasure hunting, it's got to be Crossroads. So let's get into these records. So I've been holding out for a copy of John Lee Hooker's I'm John Lee Hooker, which is a fantastic album. I've had a couple of copies over the decades, but I just found this one, and this is the very best of John Lee Hooker. On the Buddha Records label, well, I absolutely love that cover with that kind of double exposure thing going on there and really cool label. The one thing I will say is that this is the one of the records that were that I picked up that had a price sticker on it. And this is a 1969 pressing, and it's just, that is one of the more disappointing things. If I could urge record sellers anything, it would be don't put price tags on your records that aren't gonna peel off easily. I think I paid about 15 bucks for this, and then I paid the price by trying to remove it. And you know, once I got it started and it just started to peel up the paper, I was like, well, whatever, I'm in now, let's do it. Doesn't take away too much though. I mean, this is an awesome record. It's got a lot of killer hits like Dimples, Boogie Chillin', Little Wheel, Crawling King Snake. I mean, it has all the great tunes. I think this actually has 16 tracks on it. And I think I'm John Lee Hooker has maybe 10 or 12, something like that. Don't hold me to that, but this has more tracks on it. And I haven't compared the track lists one to one. I listened to side 1 of this and it is a lot of the same tracks that are on I'm John Lee Hooker, and it's the same recordings. And so it's just an awesome record. Very happy to have snagged it. Love this cover, and I'm glad I held out, man. This one's really cool. All right, next one, let's get this one out of the way because I did not have a copy of this. I had to snag it because it was mint condition for like $5, but this is Foreigner 4. Very common record, not a valuable record or anything like that, but also a fantastic record. And my parents turned me on to records very much at a very young age. Bought me a turntable when I was 5 years old, completely treated me like an adult, allowed me to pick out records and would give me records that I could listen to, allowed me to, just taught me how to use a turntable and a stereo. And from a very young age, I was off and running. But when my parents separated and my mom kind of developed her taste, my dad kind of developed his taste. And one of the things that she played all the time was this record right here, which came out, I think, in like 81. So I would have been like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, something like that. I love this album, man. It's a rocker. It's got some great stuff on it. This one's very clean. And for $5, I couldn't pass it up. All right, I was stoked to see this one. This is Ahmad Jamal live at Montreal. Jazz Festival, 1985. I love Ahmad Jamal. You know, I try to pick up his best records whenever I can. This is definitely one of them. It is a double LP live album, and it is killer. It's a piano quartet with an extra percussionist on here, and to great effect. And I mean, it is recorded very well. So for live jazz, I mean, it sounds very, very good. It's Ahmad Jamal at the top of his form. I mean, he just got better and better and better over the decades, and this one is no exception. I love this album. Live at the Montreal Jazz Festival from 1985. All right, so if you watch my channel with any regularity, you will know that I've been talking a lot about Chick Corea probably over the last few months. And so I try to pick up, again, any good ones I can find. And they had this one, 3 Quartets, which I was not familiar with, but this is a fantastic album. Now that I've had a chance to play some of it, you know, it gets like 4.5 stars on AllMusic. So it's highly regarded, and it's very, very good. One of the songs on here is dedicated to John Coltrane, and one of the other songs is dedicated to Duke Ellington. This album was released in 1981. Love that cover too, man. Love the black background on this cover. Just super, super cool. I love Chick Corea, one of my top 10 pianists. Just amazing stuff. This is a really good album. So don't sleep on 3 Quartets by Chick Corea. All right, so I've been picking up a bunch of Ronnie Laws lately. This is not Ronnie Laws. This is his brother, Hubert Laws, who I didn't know a lot about. I didn't own any of his albums before I bought this one, but had begun to kind of get into sampling his music, and this comes up 5 stars on AllMusic. It's a double LP called In the Beginning. It is a 1974 album and was recorded and released on the CTI label. It also features Ronnie Laws on tenor saxophone, so that's a bonus. But this has a large lineup. There's a lot of players on here, and a lot of great stuff. It's got Claire Fisher on piano and electric piano, and Ron Carter on bass. It's got some cello, viola, violin. It's just a nice big band with a full, rich sound. It sounds incredible. It's not really something I would normally listen to, but for this kind of music, it is very, very good, and I can see mixing this in from time to time. All right, so in a previous video, I mentioned that I picked up Gil Evans's album, Into the Cool, and I got a recommendation in my comment section from a fine viewer that said, you gotta pick up Into the Hot. It's just as good. And boom, they had a copy, so I snagged this. It's on the Impulse label. I'm guessing this is a late 60s, early 70s pressing. That's when they were using this label variation. But this is, it's phenomenal. Gil Evans is someone that, I mean, I just picked up another one that I'm gonna show in another video coming up. I just love, because Gil Evans is, you know, for arranging and composing music for bigger bands, his music is very unique and very sensitive to each player. And it's very, very cool, man. If you haven't heard a lot of Gil Evans, it'll be very surprising to you, I think, because his stuff is it's just different from the typical stuff that you might hear with these kinds of lineups. So very stoked to find this one. Into the Hot, Gil Evans on Impulse, a fantastic score. All right, last but not least, I just did a record review of the Tone Poet release that just came out this January of Elvin Jones' Polycurrents, which you can watch right here. And that is his 3rd record for Blue Note. His 2 prior Blue Note offerings are called Putting It Together and The Ultimate Elvin Jones. And lo, they had the Ultimate Elvin Jones there, so had to snag it. This album is fantastic. Both of his first 2 Blue Notes are different from Polycurrents in that they are trios. And this one includes Joe Farrell, who plays tenor, soprano, and flute, and then Jimmy Garrison on bass. So just a fantastic, fantastic album. Highly recommended. Love Elvin Jones, and just starting to pick up those early Blue Notes of his. This is part of the 75th anniversary series that are extremely controversial. And a lot of people would say, they're not controversial, they just suck. Well, this is my fourth one, and I believe this is a US pressing. I have two US and I have two UK. Both of the UK editions are phenomenal, fantastic. The hype sticker says they are cut from the master tapes. I think people dispute that, but I just think they are. They just sound great. The one US pressing I have is probably from a digital source. This one is probably from a digital source. I consider myself 3 for 4. I have one that just has a ton of surface noise. I think the biggest complaint you can have, or that I would have so far, now that I have 4 75th anniversary series, is that there's gonna be some quality control issues. The one that I have, Happenings by Bobby Hutcherson, is just unlistenable. It was just a waste of money, unfortunately, but this one kind of makes up for it. I got this for a decent price. It sounds great. It is quiet, it is clean, it has great sonics. Very happy to grab it. I mean, yeah, if I just had to go based on my own experience and just ignore the critics online, I would have to say that, I'm 3 for 4 on 75th anniversary. So if you can find them that don't suffer from quality control issues, if you can find the UK edition specifically, I would say grab those. If you're gonna grab US editions, you're gonna have to be okay with the fact that they're not all analog, but this album sounds fantastic. So take that for what it's worth. Glad to find this one there. Love to add Elvin Jones to the collection. All right, that's all I got. See, I do shop at my local record stores. I know a lot of people love digging. They just love digging. And while I used to be someone that did, I could spend hours and hours in record stores and bookstores and antique stores and all of that stuff. Anymore I'm kind of in a place in my life where it's just not as appealing to me. Sometimes I do just need to get out of the house, and I do just need to, do some picking. So while I don't do it as much as I used to, particularly as the collection grows, I'm very intentional about the records that I want to add to my collection. And we all know that going to a record store isn't that experience. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to pick this up at the record store today. It's very much a treasure hunt. The things that you find at record stores are serendipity. These are things that you didn't expect that kind of show up, and because of that, it's kind of exciting, right? It's exciting to find these records there. It was exciting when I went to the thrift store and came away with a big stack of records for dirt cheap. But I can't do it every day. I'm not someone that is going to do that all the time, but I'm very happy that I went to Crossroads on this day, found some fantastic stuff. How do you use record stores? Are you someone that is just all about supporting your local and you're just going to go in there, you're not going to buy online, and you're just all about going to the record stores, and maybe you even travel around the country shopping at different stores? And of course, anytime I'm in a different city or state, I love checking out the record stores. Are you someone that just kind of supplements, or maybe you're like me where you're sort of like, you know what, I just need to get out of the house today, let's go to a record store. And also let me know if you found anything cool. What have you found surprising? Have you got any great deals going to record stores? Or maybe you picked up a holy grail. I'd love to know about it, so let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel more than you know. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.